Hello, dear lovely audience. Welcome back to another Bravo TV new recap. Everyone, I know you'll have been waiting for this. Thank you guys so much for your patience. The RHOC couple shed more light on their recently sold Beverly Hills home. We bombed. Heather Dubrow and Terry Dubrow aren't afraid to admit that they took an L. How to watch. Watch The Real Housewives of Orange County on Bravo on Thursdays at August 7th and next day on Peacock. Catch up on the Bravo app. Weeks after saying goodbye to their Beverly Hills home, the Real Housewives of Orange County couple shared more details about the sale and the jaw-dropping sum they ultimately lost. As previously reported, Heather and Terry purchased the 9,000-square-foot abode for $16.1 million and sold it for $16.5 million with the help of million-dollar listing Los Angeles agents Josh Flagg and Josh Altman. While some assumed that the Dubrows walked away with a $400,000 profit, the husband and wife explained they actually lost a hefty amount of money. And we mean hefty. Heather and Terry Dubrow shared details on their pricey home renovation. We lost $5.80 million. I'll tell you why, Terry said during a recent episode of his and Heather's Between Us podcast. We bought the supplies for the guest house. We did a lot of stuff to the property, right? Related, Heather Dubrow sheds light on how she balances finances and investments with Terry, exclusive. Terry and Heather explained they needed to sell the home for about $19.5 million to $20 million just to break even, as they had poured so much money into the early renovation projects. Heather said she planned to expand the property to 10,000 square feet with 2 new bedrooms, a new gym, a sexy speakeasy, and a full movie theater. This was going to be the billionaire's home, for sure, Terry said. It would be worth $80 million to $85 million. Get more with Bravo Insider. Sign up for Bravo Insider and read behind-the-scenes features including Cynthia Bailey unpacks the differences between filming RHOA and Rob, night and day. Receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, a complete guide according to Bravolebs. Brittany Cartwright reveals the real reason she wore that tiny romper to a job interview. Backfired. Angela Oakley on the RHOA beef she squashed too soon and what you didn't see at the reunion. Confessional Interviews 101. What Bravolebs eat, how they prepare, and more behind-the-scenes secrets. Terry Dubrow says his Beverly Hills home project was a gigantic fail. Related. Terry Dubrow says he was pissed after Heather Dubrow exposed this about him. The couple said they intended to do a 50% remodel on the Beverly Hills home and went through 2 different companies to handle the renovations. They claimed that the second builder wasn't totally transparent about the costs and wasn't adhering to their previously discussed budget, which was between $15 million and $20 million. Related, Heather Dubrow opens up about son Ace's college admissions journey, exclusive. It was a gigantic fail, Terry said. So, if you don't like us, congratulations. We bombed. We got killed on that house. Instead of continuing the renovation, Heather and Terry had a come-to-Jesus conversation and decided to cut their losses. They suggested it was an easy decision, as they never considered the Beverly Hills home their main residence. While the home was being worked on, the couple primarily lived in their Los Angeles apartment. Related. See before and after photos of Heather Dubrow's Beverly Hills mansion. Spent some money. We never intended to be real estate people like that, Heather said during the episode. It wasn't a goal. We never said, oh, we're going to do a lot of real estate, or we're going to build houses, or we're going to do that. We sort of are like unwitting house flippers, and this house that we just sold, I think, was the first house we ever put on the market. Maybe one other. Heather then shared some advice for others embarking on an ambitious home remodel or build. You really have to vet your builders. It is imperative to go with people that you've worked with before, she explained. But you have to know your builder. You must get a budget up front. You must realize that some things are going to swell a little bit, but you have to do your own research. You have to know what things cost. You have to know what lumber costs. You have to know what trees cost. You must find these things. Get more details about the Dubrows' real estate investments, including their property development in Idaho. To their next grand chapter. They'd purchased the Acti, dream turned dust. They called it the Dubrow Dream House for a reason. It had the look, the history, the price tag. In 2023, Heather and Terry Dubrow purchased a sprawling, English-style compound in Beverly Hills, once owned by the legendary Dino, actually Martha, De Laurentiis, for $16.1 million. Picture a 9,000-square-foot 1940s estate, perched among the hills, complete with dual staircases, a grand foyer, media room, and sweeping canyon-to-ocean views. On RHOC, the project shimmered with possibility. Heather envisioned a 3-year renovation odyssey, a chance to sculpt their next iconic home. They dubbed it the Dubrow Dream House, a lavish retreat ready to embrace the future. Act 2, Renovation Run Amok. But the dream quickly veered into chaos, or shall we say, catastrophe. Contractor drama?
Check.
Fire setbacks?
Check.
Budget buster? You bet. Heather revealed on season 19 that the contractor ran $8 million over budget. To add insult to financially grievous injury, they almost literally played with fire. The wildfires and ensuing insurance hurdles added insult to injury. As cameras rolled, Terry helplessly watched the storyline spiral. In episode after episode, the dream home featured more, "What the heck is happening?" Then look at this vision. At one point, he sighed on camera, "We just want to break even." Harsh words for a property branded as future gold. Act 3, Listing/Repeat. March 2025 rolled around with the revelation. They were selling. The house hit the market for $25 million, with Josh Altman and Josh Flagg, heavyweights of million-dollar listing Los Angeles, leading the charge. But reality quickly cut the price down to size. With renovations gone sideways and market conditions on edge post-fires, they lowered the price to $19.9 million by early August, cutting a staggering $5 million off the original ask. Heather reflected, "I literally just want to break even," then later admitted the estate wasn't viable for our family. The universe, she mused, was whispering, "Go elsewhere." Act 4, The Sale and the Loss. August 2025 brought the final curtain. The dreamy hilltop never realized its potential. The house finally sold. Yes, but for $16.5 million, a fraction of the fantasy found in their mind's eye. Terry didn't mince words on their podcast, Between Us, August 27th. "We lost $5.8 million. If you're in Los Angeles and you sell a house that's over $10 million, you have to pay 5.5% of the gross to Los Angeles." He didn't stop there. It was a gigantic fail. "So if you don't like us, congratulations. We bombed. We got killed on that house." Crunching the numbers. Bought for $16.1 million, invested millions into renovations, sold for $16.5 million, and still ended up deep in the red. The mansion dream collapsed under real-world costs and opportunity. Ouch. Act V, Aftermath and Reflection. Heather didn't dwell on the doom. She reflected that had she known the outcome ahead of time, she wouldn't have bought it. Grim realities drive fresh changes, and for the Dubrows, that looked like embracing apartment living and downsizing to align better with their family's evolving needs. One Redditor, reflecting on the project's collapse, remarked, "Renovating an existing mansion in the hills of LA is very different than building ground up. I have a feeling the budget, red tape, and possibly the fires ended their dream to do this." Another wrote, "It sounds like it wasn't the investment they thought it was going to be, the cost to do, everything was going to make it super lengthy." Behind the limelight, the reality. Even star power has limits when weighed down by bad luck, unchecked costs, and the realities of LA real estate. Below is the extended version for your storytelling pleasure. Raw, dramatic, and meticulously woven into a tapestry worthy of reality TV itself. Title: Gigantic Fail. How Heather and Terry Dubrow lost $5.8 million on their dream home. A vision born from chateau to canyon. Heather Dubrow stood in the sweeping canyon-side foyer, eyes alight. The place once belonged to La Laurentiis royalty. Now, it felt like the prologue storied estate in 2023, locked in their plans for 3 years of artisan renovation. But this wasn't just a house. It was the promise of something grandeur, something cinematic. Overruns, fire, and fractured plans. They brought in the big guns, a contractor to transform the bones, designers to curate jewel-toned spaces, landscapers to sculpt the acre, 8 acres of potential. And then, the nightmare unfolded. Budget busts. A contractor running $8 million over. Insurance tangles as LA rivers of flame encroached on their hillside. Rumors of asbestos. At every turn, rather than scaffolding and shimmer, there were compromises and cost surges. The big sale, dream or delusion. With cameras rolling and hopes already cracked, they flipped the switch. List that sucker. $25 million. Enough to recoup costs and still leave cake. Josh of $1 million listing took point, gliding through the gates with showmanship to spare. All eyes were on Beverly Hills and on them. / reality bites. But nobody showed up with multiple offers. The market fought back. First whispers said break even. So they slashed to $19.9 million. Heather, with equal parts bravado and resignation, sighed, I literally just want to break even.
Ouch.
The deflating finale. Then the number came in, $16.5 million. The high roller became a markdown. The gamble landed them not riches, but a steep shortfall. Terry's podcast moment was brutal in its candor. We lost $5.8 million. We bombed. We got killed on that house. A mansion turned memento of missed marks. What went wrong? Real estate for reality stars. They bit off more than a budget could chew. Studio-style planning met hillside regulation, post-fire premiums, intangible costs, and emotional exhaustion. Even star-laced real estate advice couldn't salvage what had morphed into a monster budget. What's next from mansions to Manhattan? The Dubrows stepped away, pivoting to penthouse living, travel plans, and family time. Apartments replaced acreage. Heather looked forward, not backward, and mom of 3, soon none at home, checked the exit.